Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back from another bang video, guys. In today's video, we will be reviewing the iPhone 15 series and should you buy it or not. So let's just check it out. So basically we've got the Apple iPhone 15 regular, 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. So we've got all of these and we're just gonna basically check it out and we're gonna review it. What is a more affordable price of the 14 or 15 and the differences? Alright guys, so first of all, we guys are gonna check out the iPhone 15. It's a 6.1 inch display, 48 megapixel camera that records up to 4K 60 FPS, 6 gigabytes of RAM, Apple A16 Bionic, and 3,349 milliamp hours. The display is a Super Retina XDR OLED display, HDR10, Dolby Vision, 1000 nits, and goes up to 2000 peak. Honestly, a solid phone, a really solid phone. What could you want from this phone? The Geekbench is really high up. Great for any user, legit any user basically. Great battery, and should you get it, it's a pretty good phone right now. And yeah, and let's check out the iPhone 14. iPhone 14 is a 12 megapixel camera with a 6.1 inch display, 6 gigabytes of RAM, Apple A15 Bionic, 3,279 milliamp hours display with HD, the same display, but this one only has 800 nits that goes up to 1,200 nits peak. Also great battery life, 60 FPS. But yeah, so this is the phone. All right, first of all, we're gonna talk about displays. Displays are both the same, but this one, the 15, goes to more nits, so it goes to 200 more nits, and the peak is more better. With this one only be 1,200, this one being 2,000 thing nits. So if you're a brightness person and you really care about brightness, it's good. But 800 brightness is probably good. If it's 600, it's trash. 800 is like the perfect. So I really don't care, but some people really care about the nits and how bright their screen is. So yeah. Um, camera is quite a big difference. The Apple iPhone 15 goes to 48 megapixel camera that can zoom up to 20 something x. I'm not sure, but it does do more zoom. So if you care about zoom, it's the perfect fit for you for the 15. But if you don't really care about zoom, get the 14. 14 but only has a 12 megapixel, so the camera is going to be way much better on the iPhone 15. So if you care about camera, I'll say the 15. Performance is basically the same, but the GPU is better on the iPhone 15. So performance is a tiny bit better. Um, tiny bit, not by much. They both have 6 gigabytes of RAM, and yeah, and the battery is also a bit better. You'll get probably like 30 minutes of difference on the Apple iPhone 15, and the 15 has a Pro notch, the notch that the 14 came with, 14 Pros, and now it's in the 15. So pretty solid phone, but if it's more than $300, if there's a difference by the 14 to the 15, $300 more, I would not recommend the iPhone 15 as of yet. Um, if it's $300 more, never, just never. Please do not get it unless you really care about the camera and stuff. It's still a better phone, but the 14 is more of a cheaper option to get. So that's the 15, 14. We got the Apple 15 Plus. The 15 Plus is a 6.7 inch display with 48 megapixel camera, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 4,383 milliamp hours. Display with Super Retina XDR OLED, HDRW Vision 1000 nits, and the Geekbench results are pretty decent as well. Not that much difference from the 15 and the 15 plus, but the battery on this thing is a killer. It's a really killer. Batteries on this device is scary, honestly. Should you get the 14 plus or the 15 plus? So let's get into it. So 6.7 inch, 12 megapixel, 6 gigabytes RAM, 4,323 milliamp hours. It does have more brightness on the 15. Geekbench results are also good, but the 15 is better, a bit better. Same thing with the 15 and 14. If it's $300 or more, I would not recommend the 15 series because right now they are so expensive, super expensive for not the best changes. This is basically like the 15 normal, not the plus. It's the same thing. If it's this, the 14 plus is cheaper. I would recommend the 14 plus. So yeah. Now the 15 Pro, 6.1 inch display, 48 megapixel camera, 8 gigabytes of RAM, Apple A17 Bionic, but this one's called Pro. It has something different, a stronger chipset. But yeah, 3,274 milliamp hours. Display is a LTOP Super Retina XDR OLED display with 120 hertz. 120 hertz on an iPhone is crazy. Most iPhones don't have it. So yeah, Dolby Vision 1000 nits to up to 2000. So the same thing as the other 15s. So also great. Geekbench results are not tested, so but they'll probably be around the same or better. Look at the 14 Pro, 48 megapixel camera, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 74 milliamp hours more on the 15. This one has 3,200, so decent, easily. 1,000 nits goes up to 2,000, and this one's going to be the easiest out of the bunch. 14 Pro is much, much better. This one has more zoom, and a better RAM. But this one, you're basically getting the same thing, and it's a quite of a difference. You're paying 200 to 250 plus more on the 15 Pro. As of yet, there's lots of problems with the 15 series, so I'll recommend the 14 Pro. 14 Pro is just as good as the 15 Pro. You're not going to see much difference, and people still say that they've tested and played with the 15, not regular, and got the 13. They don't feel in performance difference. So 14 Pro is a definitely better option than the 15 Pro. Now it's gonna be the 15 Pro Max. Is there gonna be a difference? 6.7 inch display, 48 megapixel camera, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 4,441 milliamp hours. The display is the same. Geekbench is here, and it's a pretty good result. It's way much better. And we got the 14 Pro Max with 6 gigabytes of RAM, 4,323. This one does have more this time. 6 gigabytes of RAM, display. Also, this same stuff. They just basically the difference on the 14 and 15 is this one has a tiny bit better battery. This one has 6 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabyte of RAM. Also a bit zoom on the cameras, a bit just tiny salt and pepper on both. So I still recommend the 14 Pro Max. So the 15 Pro Maxes and just the 15 series, I wouldn't recommend as of the price right now, I would just rather buy the 14 series. Also, real great devices with great battery percentages. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll guys catch you in the next one.